On February 14, 2019, suicide bomber attacked a convoy of Indian security forces. He killed at least 40 Indian soldiers here in Kashmir, the deadliest attack region has seen this century. The bomber was part of an Islamic militant group based in Pakistan. Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed responsibility for that attack. 12 days later, India carried out airstrikes in northern Pakistan. Then Pakistan shot down at least one Indian aircraft around here. Tension rose between two rival nations. Kashmir is one of the most disputed places on earth. Over the course of 70 years, it has been at the center of three wars fought between two massive armies. It's heavily occupied by more than 500,000 Indian troops and deadly collection of militias and terrorist groups. Kashmir is the stage for the relentless conflict between India and Pakistan. Kashmir is one of the most strategic places in the world where three powerful countries collide: India, Pakistan and China. China invaded and took this slice of Kashmir from India and was given this one by Pakistan. India and Pakistan control these parts but lay claim to more. This region is at the center of the brutal conflict over these disputed borders, so it's important to start when they were being drawn. In the mid-18th, India was a patchwork of several hundred provinces and priestly states under British rule. A century later, when British India won independence, the British left and hastily decided to split the region into two. These areas would be a new Muslim majority country, Pakistan, and this would be the mostly Hindu but secular India. The partition was bloody. Amid the chaos, some priestly states were given the choice to join either country. In most cases, the ruling monarchs followed the will of their people, but the state called Jammu Kashmir was different. It was right along this new border and had a Muslim majority population, but was ruled by Hindu monarch. When asked to pick a side, the ruler chose to stay neutral, fearing that the monarch would join India. The Kashmir population rebelled here in 1948. Armed tribesmen from Pakistan soon joined the fight. The monarch turned to India for military help and in exchange agreed to join them, which sparked the first Indian-Pakistan war in Kashmir. The Union Security Council broke the ceasefire in 1949, which established this line with Pakistan controlling this side and India this one. It also asked Pakistani tribesmen to withdraw and Indian troops to follow, so that Kashmir could hold a direct vote to decide its own future. But neither held up their end of the deal. Pakistan argued the Kashmir's Muslim majority population rightfully belonged with them, while India insisted that Kashmir was handed over to them by the Hindu monarch. So they doubled down and added Kashmir to their constitution. Both countries continued to threaten their grip around it for decades. In 1965, the Second India-Pakistan War broke out in Kashmir. Thousands of people were killed between the huge armies on both sides. A ceasefire ended the war but didn't change this line. Kashmir was kept divided, one occupied. And another war broke out in 1971. This time the focus wasn't Kashmir, it was East Pakistan. Here India helped rebels fight for independence and dealt Pakistan a devastating defeat. This region became a new country. Bangladesh and Pakistan lost its eastern half. This made Kashmir more important than ever. It became one of the most militarized places on the earth as India and Pakistan deployed planes, tanks, artillery and soldiers along the line of control. On the political front, in 1987, India reportedly rigged an election declaring a pro-India party as a winner. Now this was a big turning point for many Kashmiris who felt they were again denied the chance to vote. Thousands took the streets in India-controlled Kashmir to protest the occupation. But India met the movement for independence with harsh resistance. Kashmir militias like the Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front started recruiting Muslim youth to fight for independence. and increasingly attacked the Indian military. Pakistan saw an opportunity in this insurgency. They helped introduce a new kind of militant group, radical Islamic fighters who fought for a more pro-Pakistan Kashmir. By the mid-90s, these groups dominated the insurgency. India responded with incredible military force, deploying 5 million troops to Kashmir, and they cracked down on militants and the protesters. Unarmed civilians were killed and many more were forced to flee the violence. And in 1980, the stakes were raised yet again. Kashmir became a battleground between two nuclear-armed nations, and another war broke out in 1999. The 1999 war ended with another ceasefire, but that didn't stop either country. Over the years, Pakistani militant group got bolder and launched terror attacks in Kashmir and outside of the Kashmir. In 2001, members of the Lashkar-e-Taiba bombed India's parliament building in New Delhi, killing 14 people, and in 2008, 10 militants from the same group killed 174 people and wounded 300 in Mumbai. Meanwhile, Indian military cracked down in Kashmir, firing bullets and pellets on unarmed protesters, leaving hundreds wounded and blind. This is the vicious cycle of violence. The Indian army crackdown drives some Kashmiris to join Pakistani-backed militant groups who carry out violence against the Indian forces. It's a cycle that Kashmiri civilians are stuck in the middle of, which brings us back to 2019. This suicide bomber was 19-year-old Adil Ahmed Dar from Pulwama, Kashmir. According to his parents, in 2016, Indian police officer stopped him and humiliated him by forcing his face into the ground. The same year, he was shot in the leg at a protest. The next year, Dar left home with his brothers to join Jaish-e-Muhammad, a Pakistani-supported militia that radicalized him and trained him to be a suicide bomber. A year later, he drove explosives into an Indian military convoy. For more than 70 years, India and Pakistan have driven a cycle of violence, retaliation, exploitation in Kashmir. But beneath it all, the Kashmiris wish to make a choice, a wish that continues to suppress it again and again by violence.